Everybody. I just wanted to go over a few R basics with you in this video. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that you can see what I'm doing. You should be able to download two files, an intro to R file, that's the R script, and a CSV file. These are the data that will load into your into the R Studio platform. So you can open a file in different ways. You can just double click this if you've set your computer up to recognize that when you're opening a .r file, you're using R Studio, or you can come over to R and just navigate file, open file to your folder where your file is. Open. Okay, easy peasy. So we have our script open, and I'm just going to walk through it and talk through how we can handle all of these things in R. So this is the RStudio interface. Up here is where it will, kind of in this upper quadrant here, this is where the program will load your R script. So these are saved files. These are like Word files or Excel files. They are saved. You can manipulate them. And this is what we typically work with so that we are able to go back, change code, replicate what we've done, and save all of that information for times when we need it in the future or as we're working on things. Down here is where you can type in commands, any kind of command that you want. I just did a simple little 1 + 2 = 3. So that's where you kind of operate the command line in the console. This up here, this environment, you have several different toggles. The most important one is always open at the environment. It just tells you what objects we have, what data we've loaded, what objects we've created. And then down here is a super helpful pane. It has a packages tab where you can manually load packages, files that kind of show you your file structure. This is where your plots pop up. So there are other things, but those are kind of the key things that we're really looking for and interested in. So let's go ahead and look at this R script. The first thing we want to do is install a package. So base R does a lot of different things. It has, functions and other things built into it. But what will happen is that developers across the sciences, in this case with ggplot, I don't know what Hadley Wickham did, but he does a lot of like data management and visualization stuff. I think he might just be a computer programmer, but all of these people create these packages and then you're able to use them in R, which is really, really cool. So the first time you use a package, you have to install it. And there are, most of the time, for most of these basic functions, there are two ways to do it. I like to write everything in the code itself. That way it is ready to go. You can just click right through, run the code, and it'll work the next time you go to do it. But I'll show you both ways for this initial introduction. So we can install packages like this. This is what that code looks like, install.packages. And we're going to use ggplot. So we can just run that. And this will install packages, always accept all of the dependencies. These are the other packages that this particular program depends on. So you don't need that here. We don't need to do that here, but sometimes you'll be asked and always say yes. One thing I wanted to point out is that you only have to do this once. And so in computer science, when we're writing code, you can use hashtags to your advantage this way. So we don't need to reinstall this package in the future. So what we can do is just hashtag it out. That just tells the program, don't read me, I'm not anything, ignore me. So you'll see that I've often annotated code that I give out with lots of like hashtagged remarks. That's so we can kind of understand what's going on. The other way you can do this is go to packages, install, and you can just search for the package that you want and install it. Awesome. Okay. Every time you start a new R session, though, you do have to load your library or your code won't work. And the code for doing this is super simple. It is library with the program name written in there. So we can just go ahead and run this. I'm gonna go ahead and make this large while we're doing this component of the video. The next thing I wanted to mention is setting your working directory. So you can set your working directory again in this like kind of manual way. I think it is, let's see, file. It's one of these tabs where you go in and you can tell it to set your working directory. But since I'm not going to tell you to do that, I'm going to stop looking for it right now. Ha, where is it? I am now curious. Okay, well, I'm not going to. Aha, it's under session, set working directory, and then you can choose the directory. So that would be the file that we're working out of. But again, much more preferred method is to go ahead and set your working directory with a piece of code. This way you don't have to guess. You know exactly what file and organizational structure you were using for this. Trust me, if you're working on a lot of different projects and things are morphing, it's really great to be able to go back to your code and just run this and have the correct data imported. So the big thing here is just finding your working directory. It's very easy. All you have to do, and this is in Mac, but I think it's very similar in with a PC too, is you go to your file that you're interested in and you right click on it. Then you go to Get Info and you'll see over here this Where section. You just highlight it, copy as path name. And then all we need to do is copy and paste that right in. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to expand this back out so we can see. So we can go ahead now and set that working directory. And now we can take a look to make sure it works. This is just the code to see if we set it correctly. So it should tell us, perfect. It's taking us right to that folder. That's what we want to see. And we can also list the files within it just to make sure, see what's in there, see what we need to load. Okay. This is a very simple command to read in your data and create an object that holds your data. So we are going to call our object my data. We're going to use this read.csv code, and we're just going to read it right in. We are then, oh, this is incorrect. We are then going to go ahead and take a look at what this data looks like. This should be my data. So this is the command. It's head.data. This just shows you the top of the data file. So you can see all of this. That's what it looks like. Letter, and a column with X and a column with Y. String, this str shows you the structure of your data. So you can see that this first one is a letter. This first column then is letter. You can see that it is a character, then this is a number column, and this is referred to as an integer column. I don't know why it read it in differently. They should actually be the same. And don't worry, if we need to, we can change those for whatever application going forward. But for right now, that's totally fine. It will still work. So we can also get a summary look at the data, see what they look like. This kind of gives you a little look into what the data look like. Okay. Then, and I'm not going to do this part for you, I'm going to go ahead and let you all run this code and see what comes up. But those are the basics of R. One more thing I should mention now that I'm looking over here is you can install R in this way, R packages this way, but you can also just go down when you want to load them and you can look for whatever package it is you want to load and you just click and it will load. I, again, dramatically prefer setting my code up this way. And I do it this way every time I draft a new R code. I have the packages and I need to either install or load. Sometimes I don't have the install codes because I've installed most of these things before, but I'll always have the libraries that I need. I always set my working directory and I always have lines that read in my data. Then it is super simple for me to jump back in and start working on a project. Okay, this is really all you need to know about how to configure your our files going forward. And hopefully, this was a helpful refresher for those of you that needed it. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.